meta built around a 6k leader that's not actually a 6k leader, just has a stupid strong effect, I think we need to be playing 6k leaders. With this, we're going to be trying out Oden, which is also a leader that's not actually a 6k leader, but when you meet its parameters, it's a 6k leader, which is kind of cool. It also gets some awesome support in EB02 with this new Yamato, and I'm super excited to test out this deck for you guys to enjoy. Now it's red and green, obviously a very aggressive strategy that also manipulates Dawn, so I'm excited to test out a lot of different things, but we're going to take this deck list to the sim and see how we do after we check out the deck profile. So let's get right into it, and I'll see you there. Here is our red-green Oden deck list for now. I mean, it's one we can definitely manipulate later on, but I'm excited to show you guys everything that's going on with this leader. Now, let's start with the rules of Oden. According to the rules, which some other leaders have this ability as well, that changes the game altogether, your character cards with the Land of Wano without counter have plus 1000 counter. So now we can counter out with Izo, we can counter out with Yamato, we can counter out with Denjiro. 3 amazing cards that are just way too strong to not have counter. So now we add counter on top and it's just even better. It also works for Reiju right here, KOing 4 cost or lower characters, meaning we always have counter. So this is a very strong deck that many other decks cannot compete with in the counter game. Now, it also has a secondary effect that says ×1 Dawn when attacking. If you have a cost 5 or greater Land of Wano type character in play, this leader gets plus 1000 power until the start of your turn. So even if our opponent gets a finger gun trigger or something like that KOs our character, the character was still on board when we initiated the attack, meaning we do get the plus 1000. So we swing in for 7, we become a 6k leader until the end of our opponent's turn or the start of our turn. Same thing, basically. And so we can have Izo on the board, Yamato on the board, or Denjiro on the board. 3 amazing targets that we can cheat out with Hiyori. So Denjiro is going to say, attach 1 rested Dawn to your leader. That's going to just allow our leader effect on 5 Dawn for the curve. And then opponent's attack, when your opponent attacks, you may trash 1 card from your hand. If your leader has a Land of Wano type, which we do, give up to one of your opponent's leaders or character minus 2000 power, meaning we can make any of those 1Ks into 2Ks, or we can make 0Ks into 2Ks, or we can make a Rad Beam into a 2K. There are so many options with this Izo. Now we also run the new Yamato. This is the one we were just talking about. Activate main once per turn if your leader has Land of Wano type. Give up to 1 rested Dawn to your leader, and then this character gains rush. So it's a 6/7 rush that allows us to swing in for 7. So we swing in for 7 with our leader, and then swing in for 7 with Yamato. Very, very strong if we do it on curve. We also play Hiyori, which just plays out a 5 cost or lower Land of Wano type character from our hand other than Hiyori, meaning on 4 Dawn we can cheat out Izo or Denjiro or something like that. For 4 we usually want to go Izo because it gives us the rested Dawn to then become a 7k leader. So it also allows us to draw a card as its finalized words say, then draw 1 card. So at the end there, it gives us a little draw advantage as well. So we're not really losing cards in hand, and we're spitting out very, very big bodies and becoming a 6k leader. We're running Izo, a 2k counter that rests a 4 cost or lower. Killer, which is a blocker, then ×1 Dawn on block. If you have 3 or more characters, draw 1 card. Momonosuke, which is just a rest myself searcher, as I call it. It just looks at the top 5 and grabs a Wano country type character. Denjiro, which ×1 Dawn when attacking. If your leader is Kozuki Oden, which, haha, we are, you get to restand 2 Dawn as active. We're running Yamato, which has double attack and banish and can also be played off our Hiyori. It's kind of a win more card most of the time, but sometimes it's genuinely just a, this is the only way I win the game card. So, plus it has 1000 counter, so even if we didn't have the effect, we still have the counter, so that's always good. And then we're running Don Quixote Rosinante that says if one of your rested characters would be KO'd, you may instead trash this character. We're running Hody Jones because it's the best green card ever made. Rush, and then rest 2 of your opponent's characters or Dawn, then add the top card of your life to your hand. Ryuma, KO's 4 cost or lower that is rested on play and when KO'd. Running an Otama, which is a 2k counter, looks at the top 5, grabs a Land of Wano type character. A 2k counter to Shigi, which just says if any of your green characters would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may instead rest this character. And to finish off the deck list, we're running 4 of the Radical Beam, which just says ×1 or tap 1 Dawn. If your leader or up to your leader or up to one of your characters gain plus 2000 power for this battle, then if you have 2 or less life, you gain an additional 2 power. So it makes us into a 10k leader or like counter ability if we have the 1 additional power on our leader. So we get out of a lot of hefty swings just thanks to this card. It literally just can win you a game having the Radical Beam in hand. I'm super excited to play Oden today. I hope you guys enjoy as always. We're going to do our usual 3 games unless one's too quick. Then we're doing 4. Let's test out Kozuki Oden. We're going to start this one off against Lim. A lot of people are playing Lim recently. We're going to take first away from our opponent, and we're going to mulligan that hand. I like having the Momonosuke, but I think that was a little too much of nothing there. Now, we won't be able to do much until, our 6th on turn, so we're not liking this right now, but we do have Ryuma. Ryuma doing nothing for us right now, but hey, It is what it is. We're going to swing in for 6 at our opponent and develop a blocker on the board. Now, we could have played out the Ezo for 3, KO'd the limb by swinging into it, but I just don't think it's worth it at this point. You know, like, it is for the power of limb, and it really gets resources out of hand, does our interactions we need, whatever, but I just don't like it just yet. We're going to go ahead and take, because we're searching for a 5 cost, and of course we get another Yamato instead. We do have to remember that all these characters do actually have counter. That is one of the big things I always forget, so just remember to remind me, okay? Because if not, I will forget. So we're going to swing in for 5 and then play out Denjiro. Denjiro is going to be amazing to restand Dawn later, and we can play very, very aggressively against our opponents here. So play out Denjiro and pass. We do not become a 6k leader because we don't have arrested Dawn on our leader when we swung, but it is what it is. It's all good. We have Denjiro, which is a 5/7 that says times when Dawn, set 2 Dawn is active, which we've already been over in the deck profile maybe 30 or 40 seconds ago. I love this card. I love this card way too much because Denjiro's backstory and just seeing the development of Denjiro, very, very cool card right here. Our opponent is contemplating life here. They did counter out of that swing, which I think is kind of incorrect with Limb, but maybe because we are a red deck, they are a little worried, and I understand being a little worried. Now, they're going to swing in for 7 and 8, I believe, so we're going to go ahead and take and block more than likely because we can be very aggressive, or we could counter. Actually, I think I'm going to counter this one. I think I just changed my mind very, very quickly. So my thought process here is we let this go, we let that go. Now, if they play something to pop our killer, that would suck, but it is what it is. They should tap 3 Dawn here, play out something, and if it does pop the killer, it is what it is. Now, they don't, so we will just be blocking out of the swing right here because we want to be able to Hody Jones on this next turn. Now, it may be very aggressive to Hody Jones, but that's the whole reason we countered out aggressively, was so that we could Hody Jones. But now if we Hody Jones, we don't get our Dawn on Denjiro to restand Dawn, so I guess we're not going to Hody Jones here because we didn't think this one through. Now, give our leader arrested Dawn. We now have a 6k swing. We swing in for 8 first because now we get to restand 2 Dawn. Additionally, that is going to be very, very strong, very, very good. I like it a lot. They do not counter out, so that means we're going to search instead of swinging aggressively. We're going to grab a Momonosuke because that's all we can grab, so we have another Momonosuke in hand. We're going to go and swing in for 7 because we have 2 7 costs, so there's no real way we have to worry. So we will have Hody Jones for in the future. We have 3k counter in hand. We have 3 life. We're becoming a 6k leader, so I like what's going on here. Now, they want us to swing this character, and I'm going to because I want to get all the resources out of Lim's hand that I can, force all these 2ks out early. So now we've already seen 2 2ks and 2 1ks out of hand. Now they swing 0 into 0. How greedy can I get, really? How greedy can I really get? I can get very greedy. They don't have any rush options. They can't kill me this turn if we counter out. And Ryuma's not really going to do much against our opponent here because they're playing only 5 cost characters. So we're going to counter out aggressively. Again, being very greedy, but doing it on purpose. So I'm hoping our opponent does not develop too many bodies that we have to worry about that restand themselves. Because Lim restands itself, Doflamingo restands himself, Lim restands herself. This is going to be very difficult. They play out Edward Newgate possibly. They would have to tap 5 Dawn. It would KO our Momonosuke, so the counter would be for nothing. So it's actually not a bad play to do that. Now, it looks like they may swing in for 8 at one of our characters. We will counter out very aggressively if it's one of these stronger characters like Denjiro. I'm okay, actually, if they take the Yamato. Getting the rested Dawn is nice, but getting 2 Dawn back is very, very nice. But the only issue is if they do this, they swing in for... They're not even going to swing in after this. They're going to swing 5 after this. So I think we actually counter this. I'm going to be crazy here, and I'm going to counter aggressively. I've already told you what I'm going to do. Because they're going to tap 3 to play out Mihawk, and then they're going to swing in for another 8, because why wouldn't you? I did not expect that, I'm going to be honest with you guys. So now that's uncalled for. I'm going to say it right now. That is uncalled for. Just happening to know, hey, this is the perfect way to swing at my opponent. Kind of really obnoxious there. We're going to go and rest down Doflamingo for sure, and probably Lim, honestly. Now, we won't be able to play out anything this turn, but we will be able to search the top of the deck. We're going to grab an Otama for a 2k counter, more than likely. I think that's just our best option at the moment. We're not going to play it down. We're probably just going to swing in for 6 at Lim here, trying to force out another 2k. Lim's just the best option. It honestly just is. Now we're going to try to get rid of Doflamingo. We're still sitting on 4k counter, so we should be very safe here. We aren't a 5k or 6k leader, but that was very annoying. Our opponent really pissed me off, I'm not going to lie to you guys. No. So now we do know they have an Edward Newgate still in hand. At least that's what I believe they have. We're going to go ahead and let Momonosuke go. No way to save him this time, sadly. So Newgate would have just KO'd it anyways if that was the option they chose. So it is what it is. They're going to choose to go in very heavy. Oh, very heavy. But now if I counter out, they take the rest of my hand, and then they just have to swing an 8 at him again. So I don't think that's the best option to save it, and that does suck to say, because now we're gonna have to counter out of one swing to life, and then slowly develop our board back. So I feel like if we let this die though, we lose our whole hand. We know that, they don't know that. So we just have to let Hoodie Jones go, and that's kind of miserable, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, because now they can just go in, 7 at us, and then possibly 8 at us. I think we just have to take. Countering out here, they could literally just pass and just cook us. Or then they just swing in for 5, we give them the last card, and they play out another body, which also cooks us. So I think that was definitely the best option, because we kind of saw through their play there, which is really good, because that's literally their plan, was to tap 3. They were going to swing in for the 8, get us to counter, and then swing in. Yep, and then they restand the limb, they restand this. Okay, they're doing their things, they're doing the stuff. We're going to go here, give a Rested Dawn to our leader. Do we Otama? I don't think we can afford to Otama. We need to afford to KO a character on the board, though, I can say that. So we definitely need to remove this Sabo here. I guess we can afford to Otama, because we do have Izo now. So at least it puts a body on the board, I guess. I don't really know. We may actually need this Yamato to win the game, but we don't have a way to play it this turn. That's the only miserable part. So we're going to swing, what? Yeah, we're just going to go all out. We're going to swing 10 into Sabo here. If they have a 2-2-1, it is what it is. We're going to pass turn after that, leaving 1 active. We do have a Radical Beam. We have a 2 and a 1. We actually have 4K counter, 8K counter here. So we should be very safe. If our opponent goes all in here, do we lose? Let's math this out. 8, 13, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 will put us to 12. We would need a 2K out of life here, because 8. So we'd have 9K counter, but we don't have a rush option in hand. That's the only issue, and they have 3 life. We need double rush option. So I feel like no matter what, we just lose. I'm trying to math this out. I think that's the best option. I really don't know, because they still have 2 swings on the board. That's the only issue. I mean, we technically don't lose if we do this. Just kind of forcing them to go all in, but we don't win if we do this either. We'd need a blocker, so we'd have to... It doesn't really matter either way. Trash the Otama, no blocker, 4K counter. We get out of it, but at what does that do for us, It doesn't really get us in a winning position. We would need to be able to play out a body on the board and remove this limb next turn, and we don't find that. So I don't think we're going to have a way to really win this turn or this game, sadly, because all we can do is just pop their character. We swing in for 7, and we just lose the game. So GG's to our opponent. That was a tough one for us. And if you can't start off against green-purple Luffy, you don't know what your deck is doing. You need to be able to beat this deck to be a competitive deck, so let's find out quickly if this is a deck that can actually be competitive. First match. Hey, we won our first match against green-purple Luffy. This is a competitive deck. End of video. We're going to take the first curve. We're going to mulligan this hand. We're looking for Izo, because we did take first. We do not find it, but we do have a Yamato at least. I guess that's an option, to say the very least. We're going to go ahead and play down Otama. That does get rid of a 2K, but we do find the Izo, which is not searchable, because this grabs a Land of Wano, green Land of Wano, and this is not green Land of Wano. So we're just going to grab Izo, replace it with another 2K counter, and pass. This is the Izo we weren't looking for, so when I said I want to find Izo, this is not the one I was talking about. They get the stage, the high roll, drop the Ichiji, grab a Vinsmoke Niji. They're playing Niji as well. Niji's just going to be able to pop characters on the board. Not really doing too much, but they do get search top 5 with Sanji as well. A very, very amazing deck here with Reiju, which they could be playing Porsche, but I doubt it once we get to the next format at least. I know in EB02 they probably still play it, but that is not the point here. So 3 Dawn, what are we going to do? 1, 2, 3, 8. Simple and easy. We're going to swing in for 8 here at our opponent, because that's about all we could do, sadly, because all we had was an Izo, and Izo's not a great option to rest on Sanji and swing Sanji, because they don't care about Sanji. They don't want to keep Sanji. Sanji is not important. They go ahead and discard the stage from hand, grab a Reiju. Now they can tap 2 to play Reiju. But if they tap 2 to play Reiju, they would need to tap 1 more to get a card out of hand. No, they would tap 2, play Reiju. Oh my gosh, they're going to play Porsche into Reiju, and then draw 2 cards. This is going to be crazy. So we're going to go ahead and counter this one, just because they could go Ichiji here, and Ichiji would be very miserable for us. So instead they go for Niji. Niji's going to be all right with me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. We don't have a way to rest Niji and go in with Ryuma here, so I think we're going to go Hiyori instead. We're going to trash Hiyori to draw a card and play out the Yamato and draw, just because now we can swing in for 6 or 7 actually total. That's going to be very strong. Niji himself does bounce a 4-coster lower, so the Yamato's very safe here, which is really important. They do counter out very aggressively, giving us a 2K and then a 1K Reiju. Very smart by our opponent here, because they are already down to 3 life, and now it puts them in the position to drop the 2-drop Reiju we saw them have earlier, to draw additional cards and then still sit on 4 Dawns. So hopefully find the Ichiji. If they don't, they drop a card with German Kingdom, and then probably find the 4-cost Ichiji, because if you don't find it this deep into the deck, there is a problem with your deck. Like at that point, you actually have a factory defect, and you need to figure that one out, because that would be bad. They do everything we just said. They literally play out the Reiju. They do everything they need to. They should use the German Kingdom stage, discard a card, find the Ichiji, rush in with the Ichiji, do everything they need to do. We do have double attack and banish on this Yamato. Now, we may just blast them out of the water with the Yamato here and just say, hey, we are just going to take your resources and go for game very, very soon, so you better be able to counter out of this. They could also put this Yanji on the board. Yanji was not something I expected. They discard it for the German Kingdom stage, I'm assuming. Yanji would be a very good option to actually put on the board. They grab another Ichiji, not the Ichiji they're looking for, not the one they found yet. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they haven't found it yet. But knowing our opponent, they probably should by now. And when we banish these 2 life, it's going to be 2 Ichijis, the 4 cost that they are looking for, and that's going to be the goal, right? That is what we're trying to do to them. They're going to swing in for 6 here at us. We're going to go ahead and counter with a 1k Ryuma. I actually think I might take... No, I'll give him Hiyori. What am I thinking? Because this can pop Reiju or Niji in the future, and the Yamato has Rush, so Rush is always going to be a good option for our deck and what we're trying to do. We can also give the Rested Dawn. They do play out the Yanji. Yanji is going to be very strong here because they get the blocker, so they go a lot less strong with the Yamato like we were planning. And now they may be saving the Ichiji to remove the Yamato in the future, so this is going to be very interesting because nobody even plays this. This is a 6k blocker on the board, so now we're just going to have to decide very, very soon what we want to do. Now, neither of these characters are rested, so nothing's really able to be KO'd. We could even swing in for 5, get them to rest this, pop it with the Ryuma, but I don't know if that's really the best option. Izo could rest it down, and then we pop it, but I don't think that's the best option. We could play Hody Jones, rest it down. I don't think that's the best option, so I'm really having a tough time deciding here. I think I may actually go for the Hody Jones. We don't have a way to get a Rested Dawn, though, so we do need to go for Yamato. I think that's just going to be the play. We're going to give 1 Rested Dawn to our leader here, and we're just going to go in very aggressively at our opponent. We're going to go in for 6. They're going to have to get out of this, obviously, with the 2k very easily, if I may add. But we do have the Hody Jones for the future. They could block him 1k as well, but I don't think that's the right play. We're just going to swing in for 7, and then 7 at our opponent. 1 they should take, 1 they should block and give us a 2k here. That's exactly what they do. You always take first to decide what option you want to get rid of from hand first, and then they block, and they actually let it go. So that tells me they're planning on removing this Yamato very, very soon, at least on the next turn, because it is a 5k. That's the only issue I see with this character. Originally, when I talked about this in the last, probably like 6 videos ago now, but when I talked about the new OP12 stuff and I compared the new Secret Bonnie, I said it was a 5-6. This is actually a 5-5, and I didn't even know that. They do have Judge in hand now, so they have 6 Dawn active. Judge is going to be very strong. You play 4 Germa 66 type characters. This is not Germa 66. I was actually wondering that if the Sanji was Germa 66 type or not. So they played on Gamma Knife to lower down the power of our Yamato. I think we just have to let it go. Sadly, holy cow, they are holding our board very tight. Gamma Knife is just going to be so strong in so many purple decks. Giving minus 5,000 power to all one of your opponent's characters really helps the Eustace Captain Kid. And now they're going to play down Ichiji. Ichiji's going to give minus 2,000 to the Yamato. They're going to swing in for 5. They actually still swung 3 because, I mean, you're not using the Niji at this point. Or you can use the Niji and not do anything and then pop the Otama. But yeah, we're just going to let that go as well. And then they're going to swing 5 at us. That doesn't do anything. So they're just going to swing 7 at us. So we're going to take very aggressively. We do find another Yamato here, but Yamato's not going to be our best option. We don't really have a way to do anything with their Reiju. So Yuma's just not doing any work right now, and it's kind of pissing me off. So I don't really know what to do here. Because Hody Jones just rest the characters, we can remove them pretty easily, but I don't know if that's the best option compared to playing down Yamato here. We swing in for 7 at our opponent. We leave 1 active in case we get a Radical Beam, and then we play down Rosinante. I think that's going to be the best play here. Just to be safe, we are a 6k leader. We're sitting on 5k counter thanks to Ryuma Gaming +1 from our leader effect. This is a very tough matchup. This is very back and forth here. Red-Green Oden is an interesting deck list. You really need to draw the correct cards, it feels like, so I'm not seeing it being a competitively viable deck at the moment against certain decks, but I think certain decks it just destroys. I don't know if Yamato's that great. Again, I called it in the deck profile that this is kind of a win more card. Now they're playing on another Ichiji. That's going to be very awful for us because that's going to be another rush option, and then they can swing in for 6 and 6. They make this minus 2k power, not that it really does anything. They pop the Rosinante, which is why they were holding the Niji for just so long. And then they're going to have the ability to get rid of our Yamato, possibly. Now, they only have 2 additional Dawn. They would have to go 6, 6, 7, 7. Now, 7, I think we can just take. Yeah, I think we'll just take. I think we're okay taking 7. We will counter out of this one with... Do they have a 4 cost we're really worried about? They're going to play it on Reiju here. Tap 2, play Reiju. So I don't think we're too worried about this. We will give them the Ezo here because we're not really planning on doing anything anyway. So they should tap 2, draw 3, grab draw 2 because the Reiju, they've already used the leader effect from the Niji and the Ichiji. They've already gone down -4. They need to get rid of Judge. So they should Germa Kingdom first, discard Judge, and then decide what to do. They could even just swing in an additional 7 with the Reiju. I think we're just gonna have to go all in next turn. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think we literally just have to go all in next turn. Go 9 and 10. They played on Yanji. Yanji's a 2 cost? Why did nobody tell me Yanji was a 2 cost? Why did nobody tell me Yanji was a 2 cost? I think we're just going for game here. We lose on the next turn anyway, so we're gonna rest down their characters. We're gonna swing in for, I guess, 7. Hope they don't have it. They should have it. If they don't have it though, we just win. But if they do have it, we just lose. All right, so we need to clear out this board a little bit. So we're gonna swing in for 8 into 6. We're gonna swing in for 7 into 5. We're really just gonna hope we can clear out the board and not lose on the clapback because we only have 1 life. They have 3 swings, but they only have 5 dawns. So maybe that strategy wasn't the best because we didn't count the idea that we could clear board. But we didn't really have a way to clear board other than the Ichijis right there. So that was kind of tough for us. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. We'll go ahead and give them the Ryuma, because the Ryuma is not going to do much anymore, sadly. They're going to swing in for 7 here. We'll have to give them the Otama and counter out, because if we take, they just stack everything on the next Ichiji and go in, or they play out another Ichiji here, which forces them to have 1 and then 2 1s, right? Would this force them to go 10? We have to counter out of this one. They could have Ichiji'd. What do you mean? Oh, we would have gotten out of that too. We literally would have gotten out. So they could have swung 6 and then we counter. And then they could have swung 7, but then we could have rad beamed. And then so even if we took the 6, not thinking about our leader effect, we would still get out of it, right? Because that would make us 7, and then we counter out 1 more for the Ichijis to our opponent. We were gonna swing in for 7 because they don't have a blocker. They could have actually, dude. They had so many lines here. I think they should have kept it going. You play down Sora here, and then you discard Judge to grab back Yanji. You play out Yanji, you have a blocker, you swing in for 6, I force me to counter, so I lose my rush option. I grab a Tashigi from the top of my deck, you have a blocker, so you still don't lose. I think our opponent just gave up a little too early. They would have also been able to bottom deck a 4 cost or 5 cost or lower. Technically, we should have lost that if our opponent saw the line, but they did not, so GG's were the winner. Okay, let's take on Eustace Captain Kidd. This deck is miserable. I hate going against this deck, but we're going to take the first curve. I don't really know why. We're going to mulligan this hand. It looks like we just need to go second because every time we're drawing into going second with the Hioris and doing all that stuff, and then we don't even need the Hiyori because we don't even have anything to play with Hiyori. So I'm getting a little ticked off that we're not even drawing properly. Now, we did win our last game very luckily, but it still kind of feels miserable with nothing to do this early. So we are going to play down a Rosinante on the next turn, swinging for 6 at our opponent. They should probably take, I'm assuming, with 5 life, although they do get their leader effect if they don't. So maybe they choose not to. They put down the 1 done. Don't know what that was for, but we're not going to Momonosuke because they just remove it with Monkey D. Luffy, and I don't think we care to have that happen either. So we're just going to swing in for 6. We don't really have much set up for later anyway, so maybe it would be better to Momonosuke. Not be greedy, not try to look for doing it a second time or anything, not trying to take their leader swing away. Let's just go ahead and Momonosuke. We're looking for a 5 cost here. Well, we're just going to grab a Yamato and pass, because of course we don't need to find it, right? So we're just going to let Momonosuke go with the Monkey D. Luffy swing. They should swing 5 into our leader, and we will go ahead and take that. We'll see if we can find something. We do find something. We find Denjiro. Denjiro is going to be very good here. And then we choose to play down Hiyori into Denjiro, right? So we go boom, bam, bop. We draw 1, and then we swing in for 7. They could Basil Hawkins right now. I actually kind of be okay with that. I kind of am trying to bait out the Basil Hawkins. I want them to go ahead and trash my life, and then pass. So now we don't have 3 life if they do play the Nico Robin. Obviously, with them doing that, I'm assuming they don't. But I'm okay with that. They would have triggered out a Satori anyway, so we don't want to see that happen. So I'm cool with how that went down. I'm actually happy about it. Now, Ryuma doesn't do much in this matchup, so we'll just toss him to the side as some counter. We do have Izo, we do have Don Quixote Rosinante, Hiyori, which we could do some crazy stuff here, guys. With Dendro on the board, setting 2 Dawn as active 7. Are you serious? Have to counter out of that. I'm gonna have to counter out of that. We do have a Radical Beam live. Whoa, I'm not liking this guy. We're gonna give him the Yamato off the board. Now, what we can do here is play out Yamato, swing in. Oh, this could be crazy. Wait, 6, restand 2, then we have 3. We play out Rosinante, we leave 1 active. Can we put 1 on leader? We get 1 from leader from Yamato, so this is going to be really good. We're going to give it 1 rest at dawn. I don't think we're scared about this Monkey D. Luffy. I mean, if that's the way they choose to do it, that's the way they choose to do it. So we're gonna swing in for 7, we're gonna swing in for 7, and then we're gonna swing in for 8. We may go for the 8 first, just because we knew that trigger was going to be fine. They're going to get a body on the board. It is what it is. We may actually swing out the Jinjuro first. Yes, it is the bigger swing, so it makes it incorrect here. Oh, we had to put the 1 down on leader. I didn't think about the 1 down on Jinjuro here. So we can either Rosinante or we can Radical Beam, not both. I think we're just going to go for 7 at face, and Rosinante is going to be the place. Just getting a blocker on board is going to be very good. We still have 3k counters, so we're still in a solid spot, especially if they're swinging low. They're going to drop an 8-drop kid here. If they drop an 8-drop kid, they can't swing our face at all, so they just trash a life. I'm kind of okay with get back there. Get back. Ooh, Nami. Nami's going to be very obnoxious here. They can swing in for 6 and 7. We take the 7. We counter. Yep, you got me. You got me. 5 at face. You got me. Good job. Swinging for 8 at face. We'll take that. We do get Ryuma. Ryuma's not going to do anything, as we stated earlier. Now, Izo's going to do something very strong. So we'll play out Izo, give a Rested Dawn to our leader. We're going to swing in for... Oh, we can do a lot here. Oh, we can do a lot. We could go... I'm trying to decide here. We're going to swing 7 into Satori. Now what do? You let that go. Of course you do. My only worry here is a trigger. I want to go ahead and cash in on my Dendro. I want to go ahead and cash in, get my 2 Dawn back, just in case. So now what we can do is swing in for another 7, right? Then we can Hiyori to draw an additional card and get a body on the board, the Yamato. How are we feeling about that? Okay. They use Nico Robin to play out X-Drake. We're not worried about that. Boom, bam, bop. We draw a card. Bruh. So we're sitting on a 2k thanks to Izo. We're sitting on a 4k and then 2 1ks thanks to our leader effect. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 1 life here. They have 3 swings, but they're very low body swings. So we're not too worried about this. They played on 7-drop Law. That's going to allow them to gain a life and put a Rested Dawn on their leader. That's going to put on a little more aggression than I expected, but we're still okay with where we're at. If they swing in for 6, we'll give them a 1k. If they swing in any like 8, we can just -2, give them a 1k. Kind of keeping us safe. They don't have a blocker on the board, so we do still have the double attack and banish. That's going to be very strong against the yellow deck, so we may just swing all out and just math win after that. We're going to go ahead and say no. We're going to give them a 1k counter and call it a day. We should just win after this, so I guess we'll go ahead and trash this, give it -2k, just because we can. Not that it changes anything. They don't have any more additional swings anyways. They stand up the Law, they get the blocker. Ooh, I didn't think about the blocker here. We did not think about the blocker now, did we? Now, did we? I think it's still a math win, especially that we know that it's a Law, it's a non-counter character. So we're going to just swing in for 7 at our opponent. We're showing them we still have the banish available. They should just take this. They should just take this. Now, what we're going to probably do after this is swing in 11. Ooh. So we can go 11 with Yamato, force the block, remove that body off the board. Yeah, I think this is going to be a weird math win. Just trust. We're going to force the blocker off the board. We could have just gone 7, force the blocker out, but I want it off the board in case we don't win somehow. Because now we can 7. Oh, but if they have a Bedge trigger, we just lose. I think we play around the triggers because we still have a lot of counter in hand. I think we play around the counters. I know that's crazy. I know. We know that's a non-counter card. Could have just swung 7, left 3 active, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, now do we lose with a split? 4, 4, 2. No, we don't lose because we counter and counter. So they'd have to go gain another life. They gained a... What did they grab on their life? An Apu blocker. They needed that Apu blocker on the board. I don't know what they're doing there. So maybe I'm crazy, but it is what it is. They're going to swing 9. Well, fun fact. Radical Beam. Radical Beam. Now we just win. Now it's a simple math win. Boom, bam. We know one of those cards is probably a brick. Maybe. 7. GG's. Nice and easy win. Light work, no reaction. GG's to my opponent. Type it in the chat. We're on to the next one. Screw you, Eustace Captain Kid. Final game set match is the real match against Green Purple Luffy. You do need to be able to take this on. We're going to take second this time because first was not working great. And I want to keep this, but we won't because we're greedy. And of course, when you're greedy, you miss out. It's like going all in on a craps table because no one's hit a 7 in 50 rolls. Someone's going to hit a 7 eventually, and it's going to be very, very soon. I'm a gambling man, in case you can't tell. I'm a degenerate gambling man. They play the Going Merry. Whoa, my cats were fighting back there. Play the Going Merry. It's going to be able to add 2 cost to any of their characters, draw a card, filter itself, yada, yada, whatever. Don Quixote Rosinante. Got it on the board. We're chilling. Hope you guys didn't hear that. 3 Dawn active. Now, what do? You probably just swing in for 8 as Monkey D. Luffy. Yep, predictable as always. We're going to take that very aggressively and trigger. No way. We're not going to do that. We're not silly goofy. Now, we are a little silly goofy, but we're not going to do that. That's for sure. What we're going to do here is play Tashigi and Otama. But that's two 2Ks out of hand. We could Automata search through the deck, but we already have our Izo. Izo's going to be very strong. We could search for Yamato. Yamato would be very good, but Yamato's red. So I think we kind of keep what we already have. We're going to swing in for 6 at our opponent, and then play out the TCG just in case they run some weird board removal. I don't even think they run board removal in this deck. We definitely could have swung in a little bit more aggressively. Do they run removal in Purple Luffy? I don't think so. I think we're just going to Rosinante again. Develop 2 blockers on the board, leave it on active for no reason at all, because we're definitely not going to Radical Beam out this early. We're probably actually going to take down another life if they choose to swing in, because they should. Ooh, they search the top of the deck. They don't have a Sanji and Sanji, Pudding, Nami, whatever. That's cool with me. We're going to go ahead and give them a 2K counter. Tashigi. I wouldn't counter out usually, but with what they just did, I'm cool with it. They played on Zoro to look at the top 4 cards or 5 cards of the deck for a Straw Hat Crew type character. I think we're just going to win this game. They grab Luffy Taro in green purple Luffy. What are they building here? What are they putting down? We're going to go ahead and put 1 rested Dawn on our leader, and then we're going to swing in for a nice little 7 at our opponent's face. Now we do have the Izo effect. We also have Radical Beam live. We're going to pass turn. We have 2 blockers. We are setting up very nicely. Now Yamato would be very strong to have out early, just trying to force out some banish on our opponent, but they're going to play Luffy Taro into Sanji Pudding. Very strong. Very, very strong card right there. Now they're going to be able to ramp 3 Dawn as active. Even stronger. I'm actually kind of scared. Now they could go 7 and 8 into our face. They could go 6 and then 8 into face. Very strong. I'm not enjoying what's about to happen to me, because we don't run removal. We are not a removal heavy deck. This may be a very difficult matchup for us. Maybe, just maybe, the Yamato would have been the better choice. They're going to grab a Going Merry again, filter it, draw 1 card, trash 1 card, whatever. Make this a 9-cost character, because why not? I mean, when we drop this Red Rock on them, they're going to be a little mad. I'm just saying. We're going to go and move this cat out the way. Izo, your effect is just not that good, buddy. Just not that good. We're going to go and give them 1 of the Yamatos here. We may even take the 2nd life, but they just have such a board. I think I'm going to go and take this, because I know they're going to swing my life next, and we would rather be able to search our deck with the Momonosuke here. I definitely like having that. We're going to grab a Wano Country type character like Yamato, add it to the hand, go ahead and play Yamato out, give a Rested Dawn to our leader. Now we have a bunch of 7s across the board, and now we can go into face, because that's a lot more pressure. Face is the place. Totally ignoring Zoro. Now they should counter out of all 3 of these swings no matter where we place them, but we're going a lot of 7s. We don't have any active Dawn, which does kind of suck, but it is what it is. We're going to see if our opponent will take this one. They did get out of the first one. Now what will you do now? They take. So we're going to swing in again. Now they choose to ramp it on active with Gamma Knife, and they could use a 1-cost event there and then only lose 1 Dawn because they use Gamma Knife. Now, would you do that to me though? Would you do that? We're going to swing 7 at face. We need to go for game as soon as possible. We do have 2 blockers on the board. We also have a 2K counter on the Rad Beam, thanks to Izo. And then we have 2, 4, 6, 7K counter on top of that. So we have 9K counter total, almost a full 10K hand. We have 2 blockers on the board, 2 big bodies. They can easily kill Momonosuke with the Nami. If they're smart, that's probably what they do. They use the Going Merry to add 2 costs in Sanji Pudding, just in case we have some kind of trigger, telling me they may be going into face. They played out another Sanji Pudding, they minus 2 Dawn, restand 2 Dawn, ramp 2 Dawn. So they're back at 7 Dawn. Oh my goodness, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, they're gonna have 7 active Dawn. This deck is just way too strong, especially when you get multiple Sanji Puddings on the board. If you need to learn how to play the Monkey D. Luffy green-purple deck, check out that video from a couple days ago. It was very, very good. At this point, it's probably a week ago, because I'm recording this a little early, so it was probably about 5 days ago from today. Probably about a week ago if you're any other day. So we're going to go and use this, minus 2 to the leader, make him a 5K, call it a day, nice and easy. They're going to swing into this. Yep, you got it. We're not going to do that. Cancel, cancel. Neither of those. We're going to let the Momonosuke go. And they're going to have to just sit on the 6th Dawn. What are you going to do with it? You got to be able to do something here with it. We're in a very bad spot. A very bad spot right now. Because we still have our blockers. They play Electrical Luna. Of course you would against a deck like this. Electrical Luna being so strong. One of the most important cards in the deck, in my personal opinion. Now, if we give them the Yamato, we don't have much to play out next turn, which is kind of the big issue here. And the issue is they also have 2 more swings coming in, so we can't give them a blocker. I don't really want to give up a 2K, but I think we need to, just in this situation specifically. Now, they swing in for 7. We will go ahead and take this aggressively. We get the Hiyori into our hand. They're going to swing in for 10. We're going to have to block out of that miserably, but we're going to have to. So it is what it is. We're going to have to try and kind of race here. We're going to play down Hiyori, trash Hiyori to play out this, to go ahead and, you know, kind of find some more options. We're going to play out Ryuma to pop Zoro. At least we have that. We're going to swing in for, I think we have to go 7 at our opponent here, sadly, just in case we have to bluff the Radical Beam so they can't go for game. Bluffing the Radical Beam, especially now that they've already seen one, is a really good idea. We're sitting on 6k counter thanks to Izo's ability. We do have a blocker, and we're trying to develop the board and force them to go to game this next turn. So bluffing this Rad Beam may force them into the board, which is going to be our best option here. They are on 10 Dawn with a green purple Luffy. That's unheard of unless you get multiple Sanji Puddings. Now, of course, you're going to play it on Uso Hachi, then you minus 2 Dawn here with your leader effect, and then restand 1 Dawn, and then you ramp 2 Dawn with Sanji Pudding, and you're back to 10 Dawn. Now that is kind of crazy. We're just going to go ahead and let that go. Not really anything we can do about that, sadly. They could just blast my board out of the waters, but I doubt that's a good idea because they don't have a blocker on the board, so they have to play a blocker. You can play a blocker, though. You'll be chilling if you do that because you can replace your Uso Hachi, which was free Dawnage, basically, if you do go Dawn -2, because then you ramp the 2 active with Pudding. You restand 1. This is actually the best way to do it. Play it on the Nami if you actually have a 1 cost. They grab a Uso Hachi from the top. Now you minus the 2. You restand 2, and then you ramp those 2 back as active. You're sitting on 10 Dawn, you drop a 10 drop Doflamingo on me, and we are murdered. We are dead in the water. I mean, technically, it's just those technicality things. You could technically do that in this point, and they do exactly what we said. They ramp up to the 10 Dawn. Now they have 10 active Dawn. They got 4 Dawn for free to just play out some chump characters that basically help them almost win the game. If we take this, we would have to be able to counter out of the next swing, because these swings are going to be very big. We have to be able to counter out of this one, sadly. So we'll go ahead and go 2-1, counter out, and then they can go in for 7, and then that forces out our last card. And then they can just go in for 7 again, and then all out on the Luffy Taro. They have a mathematical win here if they are smart about it. Now they do have to play around the Radical Beam. That is the fun part of what we have done to them, but if we would have just taken there, we would have just lost. So hey, you can also play down this guy. If you're an overachiever, you can just play out this guy. Now, we are going to take this, see what we find. We're going to just take aggressively. And we do have Hody Jones. We do have Hody Jones here. But what's going to happen here is we're going to drop this, give -2, no blocker, give them a 2k, and we just lose the big game. Because now they just swing in for 7. And GG's to our opponent. This deck did not beat Green-Purple Luffy this time, but that was a Green-Purple Luffy high roll. Now this deck, I think, can definitely compete with Green-Purple Luffy, but that was a tough one. That was a very tough matchup. I love this deck, though. It's a lot of fun. It's a great off-meta strategy, and I think usually it can do good against Green-Purple Luffy if it doesn't just go crazy like that one did. So, like, subscribe, join the One Piece family in the Discord down below. I'll see you in the next video. Again, push the algorithm for me. Leave comments, leave likes. Please, please, please. I sound like Sabrina Carpenter. Please, please, please help me out. It helps me out a lot. It's helped grow the channel so much recently as we've been gaining so much momentum. So thank you so much for the support, and I will see you in the next one.